exciting. Every year, hundreds of young football players have their dreams come true as the NFL teams across the land, and you just saw that last week. Select the best young players in America to join their ranks. What do you think?
Over 3 days, we'll be over a million.
Oh yeah, you're going to boosting local businesses and bringing jobs and tourism to the heart of our capital. The draft is a celebration of one of our country's most cherished cultural institutions and the annual highlights for football fans everywhere. Everyone in the world is going to be watching. We look forward to welcoming people from across the nation, from all over the world. Last month, the Washington Commanders and the D.C. government also announced a major deal to build a brand new 65,000-seat football arena at the site of the RFK Stadium in eastern Capitol Hill. And I don't think there's a better site anywhere in the world than that site.
Incredibly exciting.
You know, he's a friend of mine. He's a very successful guy. There's a reason for it. It's amazing. It sat there for years, and people were talking about stadiums in 25 different sites. I said, they're not talking about the best site. That's the best site there is. Bringing professional football back into the district from Maryland. And not only are these announcements great for the NFL, but they also advance the mission of making Washington, D.C. safe and clean and beautiful. And we're working very closely with the mayor, as you know, and we've made a lot of improvements in the last few months, and it's getting to look really strong. Crime is way down, and there's a good relationship we have going with Muriel. So I want to thank you very much. And would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President.
The mayor, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry. Well, greetings. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of the best city in the world and also the sports capital. And we are delighted to be here with the Washington Commanders, the NFL, and the president to talk about this very exciting announcement for Washington, D.C.
This is pretty big, man.
We believe in investing in sports because they have helped us transform neighborhoods, and the NFL bringing this event to the nation's capital will help us fill hotel rooms, our restaurants, and Americans from all 50 states will come to their nation's capital and enjoy our beautiful city and museum. So we're just delighted to be here, and we want to thank everybody for all the hard work to get here.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. President, thank you. We're honored to be here in the Oval Office, and to have you announce the 2027 NFL Draft is a special treat. So thank you for your support. Also, thank you for your support in the Commanders' new stadium. We agree it's going to be a great site. We think it's going to be great for our fans here, and it's great to come back home. And so we're very excited about that. Josh is leading the way on our behalf, and the mayor, so we thank both of them for that. We also want to thank you because in the first term, you helped us get a Canadian trade deal, which we want to make sure we note again and make
Canada
sure you know.
does not like me too much. They gave a great American company a lot of money that you deserved, frankly. So.
Thank you. The draft has really become one of the great entertainment and sports events. Just a week ago in Green Bay, we had over 600,000 people attend.
Wow, that's amazing.
The year before in Detroit, we had close to 800,000. As the president remarked, we believe we'll be well over 1 million when we come here to D.C. in 2027. So we not only believe it's a great site, we believe it's consistent with what the president said, which is investing in our communities, investing specifically here in the nation's capital, one that I grew up here in Washington, D.C., and is particularly important. We think we can have a tremendous impact on this community, and it will not just be an event, it will be something that will show the world how far the nation's capital has come and where it's going. So we're very excited about that.
Becoming dope to have it in Washington Mall for real.
We thank you for your support. We know it's going to be a great event. And Mr. President, we thank you again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good luck with it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Not bad, man. About to go live on Twitch. Everybody, appreciate everybody tapping in for the stream
Without
today.
you. Thank you for your leadership in terms of the stadium, and now, what a great day for Washington. I mean, to host the NFL Draft in 2027 on the Mall. I believe we'll get over 1 million people, and it's going to be an amazing day, and it'll showcase what Washington's all about. but it'll also showcase what our country's all about. Washington is the gateway city to our country, and you know, it'll be an amazing day, and we can't wait to get started. And I couldn't have done it without my partners, Roger Goodell, thank you, and Mayor Muriel Bowser. And we're ready to get to work, and I can't imagine RFK coming back. I grew up here. DC used to stop, and
DC
on
still
Sundays,
stops.
and everyone would be inside watching football, or everyone would be glued
Stops
at
in
the
traffic.
stadium. And so we want to bring that back. And football really is as existential to the culture of America. We all love it. We all watch it, and it brings people together. And so what a great way to celebrate the United States of America, the NFL, and the Washington Commanders. And President Trump, we leave on your desk a Trump jersey. You are the ultimate commander, so it is a Commander's jersey. There's no bird on it, but you know, we appreciate you, and thank you for everything you've done, and look forward to the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I have to say that Josh had a very good draft a short while ago. You have a very good quarterback.
You do.
A great quarterback, I think. Yeah,
Very
great.
excited about Jaden.
Any questions, please, about the stadium or any of it? Yeah, please. Yes.
Cool, man.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. About the draft, and I would like to upcome an event that it was already mentioned here, the World Cup. Although United States, the passion here is football. For the World Cup next year, how do you envision, Mr. President, this event here in the United States?
It'd be fantastic. I worked very hard to get the World Cup. It was, in fact, I think I have the trophy right here, right behind you. Don't have a picture taken with Roger and that trophy, by the way. But no, they brought it in. Johnny, who's a good guy, but he brought that in. That's the actual trophy. It's interesting that you asked that. And it's made at Tiffany's, and they're leaving it here until just before the actual World Cup. Then it goes to the champion. But that's very exciting. We have the Olympics. So we have both of them. I worked very hard in getting both, and I said, you know, I'm not going to be able to be there as president. And then a strange thing happened, and it turned out I
There they go.
became president not for the
Every day,
I was
Trump.
supposed to be. I became president. Well, we have the Olympics and the World Cup, and we have something that maybe surpasses everything, the 250th anniversary of our country. So that's going to be great. That's going to be a very big event, a year-long event. So thank you for
It
the
will be.
question. Very nice
150
question.
years
Yeah,
of
please.
history, man.
Yes, so you've often said you want US to be bigger, better, and stronger. Currently, Russia is the biggest country in the world by landmass, followed by Canada and then China.
Look at
So when you
Goodell's face.
say that you want to annex Canada, is it so that it would be the biggest country
No,
in
I
the world?
never even thought of it that way, although I am a real estate developer at heart. I've never heard that question. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Is that a good question, Chat?
More security and police in order to accommodate the 1 million people coming in for the NFL draft?
What's up,
I
Harder?
think that there'll be something, and I know Roger will work it out, and Josh, and all of us will work it out. It's such an honor to
Lord,
have
Mike.
that. I think it'll
Appreciate
be great
you.
for everybody, great for our country. It'll be something very special. There's no scene like it. There's no site like it. My whole life was based on sites, locations, and as soon as I looked at that rendering, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to really be beautiful. You know, interestingly, I didn't know exactly where it's sat relative to the Capitol, but the stadium, if you go back, is right behind the Capitol, miles behind, but nevertheless visually right behind it. So it's going to be an architect's dream, whoever the architect is chosen, and the owner. It's going to be something special. I think it's going to be great for the area. Going to be. It will be top of the line. I know these people very well, and they only know about top of the
Well,
line. And I
everything
would
about it,
say
man.
that
Who
more will
doesn't
be
Donald
put
Trump know?
into the stadium than would be put into a identical stadium of a similar size. I think they're going to do a special, because of the importance of the location. I have no doubt they'll do a special job. Yeah, please.
Can you explain a little bit about how you would implement tariffs on the film industry, kind of how that would work?
Well, that's a different story, but our film industry has been decimated by other countries taking them out, and also by incompetence, like in Los Angeles. The governor is a grossly incompetent man. He's just allowed it to
Gavin
be
Newsom
taken
taking another
away
shot.
from you know, Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't do very much of that business. They have the nice sign and everything's good, but they don't do very much. A lot of it's been taken to other countries, and a big proportion. And I'm actually going to meet with some because, you know, there's some advantages, I guess, and I'm not looking to hurt the industry. I want to help the industry. But they're given financing by other countries. They're given a lot of things, and the industry was decimated. If you look at how little is done in this country now, you know, you think we were the ones. We used to do 100, not long ago, 100%. Now we do almost like very little. It's shocking. Are you in that business too? Because he's in so many businesses. You could explain it, but it's not a good situation. So we're going to meet with the industry. I want to make sure they're happy with it because we're all about jobs. That's all what I'm, you know, it's very important. It's a big industry, but it's an industry now that's, it's really left, it's abandoned the USA where it started. And we'll get it back. Yeah, please.
Thanks, Mr. President. First, I just want to thank you for letting us in here. I'm with Zero Hedge, and the last administration banned us on social media, so we're really grateful to be in the White House. And this is not exactly sports related, but I've been dying to ask you this question for a long time, which is that 2.5 years ago, the Nord Stream pipeline blew up. Yeah. And despite what people like John Brennan and all the hawks said, you were one person who said Russia probably did not blow up its own pipeline.
If you can believe, they said Russia blew it up, yeah.
And so I'm wondering now that you're president, if you would consider launching a formal investigation into what happened there and who actually did blow it up.
Well, probably if I asked certain people, I'd be able to tell you without having to waste a lot of money on an investigation. But I think a lot of people know who blew it up. But I was the one that blew it up originally because I wouldn't let it be built. And then when Biden got in, he allowed it to be built. And it's very interesting. But I think Russia, with the price of oil right now, oil's gone down. I think we're in a good position to settle. They want to settle.
Calm down, but
Ukraine wants to settle.
The chat the other day told me the gas prices in that low.
Nobody would be settling. They're losing 5,000 people a day. Think of it. Here we talk about football. They're losing 5,000 people on average a week, mostly Russian soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers. 5,000 a week, not including people that are, you know, killed as missiles go into areas that they shouldn't be. It's a very terrible thing, and I think we've come a long way, and it could be something will happen, but hopefully it will. As you know, President Putin just announced a 3-day ceasefire, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot if you knew where we started from, because they were not. We had a president that for 3 years didn't speak to Putin, and it all shouldn't have happened. This is a war that should have never happened.
But wait.
And you're going to be very disappointed when you find out the real number of people that were killed. It's far greater. Many times greater, I believe, but far greater than the numbers that you're putting out. It's a very, very deadly, horrible war.
It came for the announcement.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
Oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics. You mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it. I had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. That's not me that did it. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it. I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, "Isn't that nice?"
My question about
Actually, I would not be able to be married, though. That would be a lot. I'd have to the best of my knowledge, popes aren't big on getting married, are they? Not that we know of, no. No,
If
I think
Trump
it's
know
a
how
fake
to
news
stick
media
a
that,
joke
you
in
know,
there, but he is funny.
the fakers.
Stick to your man.
though, sir,
Hilarious.
was about the fact that
Appreciate
it was
everybody
put out on
tapping
the
into the
White
stream,
House
too,
account,
man.
even though it was AI generated, it was a joke, it was a meme. Does it at all diminish the substance of the official White House account to have it go out on that particular
Give me a
channel?
break. It was just somebody did it in fun. It's fine. Have to have a little fun, don't you? Yeah, please, go ahead.
Tell me about a program that's just been introduced to give undocumented immigrants living in the United States
About me?
$1,000 to self-deport. Can you just tell us a little bit?
Oh, the
about
new program,
The new
yeah.
program.
We have millions of people that have come into this country illegally through an administration that didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have a clue. And now we find out officially they didn't because the president was incompetent, but I could have told you that before. And they've allowed millions and millions of people to pour in. Murderers, drug dealers, the biggest drug dealers in the world, actually, terrorists come in, emptied prisons from many countries, not just South America, all over the world. They emptied their prisons into our beautiful
Joy,
USA.
thanks for the subscribing
And
to the channel.
to get that many people out, 21 million people we think the real number is, but let's say 3 million of them are serious criminals. 11,888 murderers, many of whom murdered more than one person. It's hard to believe we have to even talk about this when we're talking about something so beautiful, but it's something we have to talk about having to do with the country because it's very important. So they came in by the millions illegally into our country. They just flowed in through an open border policy that was insane. And what we've done is we've offered, you know the numbers, but because we're taking them out by the thousands, we're being obstructed. It's very unfair what's happening because the court system it's very unfair. We have to get them out fast. These are bad people. These are people that are killing, and they've already killed many people in this country. Illegal immigrants that came in illegally through an open border policy, which is insane. We talk about common sense. That's not common sense. And they came in from the Congo, all over Africa, all over Asia, all over South
Africa got to do with any of this?
Europe. They flowed in and just walked right into our country. We had no idea who they were. 21 million at least. That's probably a low number. You know, you hear lower numbers than that. It's not. That's a low number.
That's wild.
But many are really serious criminals and terrorists and people from jails. They emptied out jails. You know, Venezuela, their crime is down 72% because they took all the criminals off the streets and the gangs and they dumped them into our country. So we're getting them out. It's a very difficult thing with the courts because the courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. We're going to have 5 million trials. Doesn't work. You wouldn't have a country left. But hopefully the Supreme Court will save it. But what they've done is a very, very serious thing. You know, past presidents took out hundreds of thousands of people when needed. You look at Eisenhower, you look at many of them, and they took people out and they didn't go through any of this. But what we thought we'd do is a self-deport, where we're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from, and they have a period of time. And if they make it, we're going to work with them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people, if they're the kind of people that we want in our company, industrious people that could love our country. And if they're not, they won't. But it will give them a path to becoming, to coming back.
The year was 1946.
We got an ad in this bill. You're right. Hold on.
Was sold. The average
My
cost of
bad,
a
chat.
home was.
We're gonna skip ahead. There we go.
And they will never get a
I'm
path
gonna pay for that YouTube.
to come back in. And it'll be a much tougher process. And it's called self-deportation. And by doing that, you're talking about so many millions of people. By doing that, by the way, we've taken out thousands of terrorists, drug lords. What we've done is amazing. And I'm sure Tom Homan and Kristi Noem have done an incredible job. They really have done an incredible job. But it's a hard job. So we're going to have a self-deportation where they
They don't want to be here for this.
themselves out of our country. And we'll work with them, and we're going to try, and if we think they're good, if they have, the people we want in our country, they're going to come back into our country. We'll give them a little easier route. But if they don't work, and if we take them out after the date, then they're never coming back, and that's the least of the problems that they're going to have. Yeah, please.
What's your expectation for your meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister tomorrow?
I don't know. He's coming to see me. I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. They all want to make a deal because we have something that they all want. We have something that they all want. China wants to make a deal very badly. You see what's happening to China. China's being decimated, and I don't want that to happen. But they have to make a fair deal. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year. We were losing think of it, on our trade policies with Biden. We're losing $5 billion a day. I think Josh, as a great businessman, would not let that happen too long, right? How many groups could lose $5 billion a day?
I don't mean to mute the president, but you see Goodell's face. Goodell ain't come here for this, man. Goodell came to announce the NFL draft and talk about the stadium, but he knew it would go to immigration and everything else. And the mayor, the mayor over here flipping her hair like she's like, bro, I ain't coming for this.
Yeah.
How did you decide to reopen
Let's
Alcatraz?
talk to
Can you
Megan's
walk us
face
through
this
that decision?
Yeah,
Did I
sure.
say what?
To reopen Alcatraz, how will you use it? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker. We started with the movie making, and we'll end. I mean, it represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order. Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. But
Listen, man.
it's
Real
right now a
quick.
museum, believe it or not. A lot of people go there. It housed the most violent criminals in the world, and nobody ever escaped. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing rather.
I'm gonna tell you now, people are escaping from Alcatraz right now. They're going on Call of Duty. They're going to Rebirth Island, Resurgence. Alcatraz ain't go nowhere, bro. It's people that's gonna be able to break out of Alcatraz now because they've been playing Call of Duty for about 3-4 years. They know that damn map. They know how to break out of that bitch. They gonna have to swim, but they getting the fuck up out of there, Trump. Telling you now. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate y'all tapping in.
We had a little conversation. I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll see if we can bring it back in large form, add a lot. But I think it represents something. Right now it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. You look at it, it's sort of, you saw that picture that was put out, it's sort of amazing. But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point. Okay, are you guys okay? I want to just say that it's such an honor to be up here with my friends because this is a group of people that have done an amazing job, and all we can do, Muriel and I, is give them the greatest site there is, I think, that I've ever seen for something like this. And I did very well in the real estate business. I think this is the greatest site there is anywhere in the world for exactly what you guys are doing. And we'll work with you. We've got a lot of work to do to get it going, but we'll work with you and we'll try and make the dream come true. And I want to thank you all very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Man, that's what's up, man. Y'all seen President Trump? They said they announced that Super Bowl, not the Super Bowl, excuse me. Well, Super Bowl probably will be coming to DC after they have this new stadium, but also the NFL draft is going to be on the Washington Mall. It's just the biggest I Have a Dream speech that every NFL draft will have. That'll be packed, but I'm telling you now, the DC streets ain't ready. The Metro not ready. They're going to have to do a lot of infrastructure improvements. 1 million more people on top of the everyday traffic in DC is going to be crazy. But I appreciate everybody tapping in so far. But let's get over to the Diddy stream because this is the day one of Diddy's trial for, not his trial, but the jury selection. And as we're tapping in here, we're going to go to Fox News. They have a live stream. They've actually been going through some of the juries. And this is what people have been doing, right? I'll make this bigger for the vertical for people to see it. So y'all can read through some of this jury selection. Diddy did go to the bathroom, they say, earlier. He was nervous. I'll be nervous too if I seen the video of me doing what you did to Cassie, bro. And I know they're trying to get that kicked out of court for what it is, but also the freak offs. Everything Cat Williams said from Shay Shay's interview last year is coming true. It is on trial jury selection. This will be coming. I mean, not even becoming, because that's the wrong word for Diddy, especially with the baby oil and shit. This will be a very eye-opening trial to see how a music mogul, a billionaire, I know he's black too, but they're going to make it a black thing or anything, right? It's going to be interesting to see how this trial plays out because, you know, his people are going to try to have it picked out. All the evidence, everything people have said from DJ Academics interviews to everything. And it'll be telling to see not only how entertainers react, because you've seen how when Meg Thee Stallion supposedly got shot, or when she did get shot, you know, how people were divisive. And even now, you could talk about sexual assault, you could talk about rape, transporting people to baby oil, the Diddy parties, the freak offs. People still gonna find a way to pick sides and be like, you know what, he's a black man in this, you need to let him off. But justice is justice, right? I don't condone anybody breaking anybody, but that is what's at stake right now. You know, the sanctity of a mogul getting off with bullshit and where we are. But this is, it's nothing major. There's nothing more than pictures in court and live updates. I did see somebody streaming earlier. Let me make this full screen for me so it doesn't mess y'all up when I'm trying to find the right image. But I appreciate everybody on with it. But there was actually a dude interviewing people outside the Diddy trial, and I thought it was kind of interesting that bro.
Here's a list of stuff your car insurance company does, but it's
the Diddy
actually
trial. So let's at
illegal.
least see people on the street, because I'm in Florida. I'm not going to DC to see it. Well, let's see what people who are outside
the Cassie thing.
Diddy trial are saying.
Like I heard of Diddy beating
Why they
on
did?
Kim.
This bro.
You know what I'm saying?
And tell me, do you have a connection to Sean Combs in any way?
Only two connections. A personal connection because of his mother and his uncle,
Okay.
which is her brother. And a working connection with him. And I never told him I knew his mother. Never said a word.
What?
In fact, when I went to be an intern at Bad Boy, his mother told me to go. And his mother told me to say, tell Sean I sent you. But even when I went, I never said nothing to the person that was doing the intern hiring. I just went, and they liked me anyway. Me and two other people.
Sum up with how you're connected to Sean Combs.
Oh,
how
okay,
you
okay.
work for him.
Okay.
He bullshit.
So what connection do you
Yeah,
have
let me get to it.
He bullshit.
So look, long
He
story
bullshitting,
short,
Shree.
I was an intern for Diddy. My work detailed street team, putting up posters. Then it went to doing stuff at events, promo stuff, give out the CDs.
Bro, Diddy don't know you.
Setting up the tables and stuff. And then it was helping out in the office. And that gave me more access where I could put my people on.
I don't believe anything he's saying right now. I'm trying to my bad.
$5,000 a piece to write for Diddy. Right?
And what kind of person was he?
Oh, not what I see now, not what I saw in that tape. Diddy was a hard worker, always moving. I never saw him sat down. He never yelled in front of us. He's boastful.
Bruh, first off, I'm gonna stop listening to bruh now, because I seen Making the Band, and I know for a fact Diddy was yelling at people, bruh. Like, what are we even talking about? Diddy wasn't no, I'm gonna just get off and chill, but let's get some real news. Let me try to find some. Focus on. Talking about the Gulf of America Act. I believe on the floor right now. Let me check the chat. What are we talking about, chat?
James A. Himes of Connecticut. I'm also pleased to appoint the following individuals to serve as commissioners to the FISA Reform Commission. Ms. Shannon Bradford Franklin of Bethesda, Maryland. Mr. Glenn Stephen Gerstel of Washington, District of Columbia. Signed sincerely, Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic leader. The Honorable
Everything had to be
Speaker,
shipped to
House of
Alcatraz, even the
Representatives
water. What
served
made Alcatraz
pursuant to
mistake
Section
was the current of the
214A
water
of the
around
Help
it.
America
Sharks
Vote Act
don't
of
help
2002.
Chris, appreciate that. I didn't know about the
52
sharks.
USC
Every time I've gone to Alcatraz, Rebirth Island, I've had a plane drop me off, and I don't know how they came and picked me back up. So when I made it off the island, I had a helicopter. So I never had to swim to get off Rebirth Island. But if they open Alcatraz back up, they need to keep the choppers away to keep the people in jail there.
The chair announces the speaker's appointment pursuant to Section 214A of the
Trump is crazy as fuck. Trump is a legend. I see we're getting a good mix of everything in this chat today.
and the order of the House of January 3rd, 2025 of the following individual on the part of the House to the Election
boring.
Assistance Commission Board of Advisors. Mr. Donald.
Mr. Donald F. McGann II of Potomac, Maryland.
The chair lays before the House the following enrolled bill.
Senate 146, an act to require covered platforms to remove non-consensual, intimate visual depictions and for other purposes.
Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
All right. Ain't no debates there. And this is actually what people are watching. Outside of jury selection, like, this is the most people actually getting is outside, sitting around, wait. Go through the chat. Let's put another poll up. Do you think Diddy did it? Did he get off? That's a better question. Do you think Diddy trial? Got to end this poll first. First one. My bad with traffic beef for the NFL draft. Horrible. Not that bad. I'm taking the Metro. 120 votes. I appreciate y'all tapping in. And if you're still here, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I am your boy, the hip hop lobbyist, professional lobbyist here in the state of Florida. Just doing my little YouTube streams, little political content. Didn't really have too much about the Trump piece about the NFL draft. I think it'll be pretty good for tourism. But I think the other things that happen aren't there. Actually, what I need to do is pull up that Alcatraz. Pull up the Alcatraz. What Trump actually said. Yesterday. I want to hear the actual. I want to hear.
Where did you get the idea for reopening Alcatraz?
Just an idea I've had, and I guess because the judges, so many of these radicalized judges, they want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials.
Where did you get the idea? Where did you get the idea for reopening Alcatraz?
Just an idea I've had, and I guess because the judges, so many of these radicalized judges, they want to have trials for every single, think of it, every single person that's in our country illegally, that came in illegally. That would mean millions of trials, and it's just so ridiculous what's happening. And it's long been a symbol, Alcatraz, of whatever it is. I mean, you know, it's a sad symbol, but it's a symbol of law and order. And, you know, it's got quite a history, frankly. So
President Trump has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal today. And, of course...
I don't see full news report. Yeah, what do you think is actually needed? Alcatraz actually needed for the immigrants that they're trying to deport? I mean, do you really think it's going to stop the judges from finding ways to go through this process to delay this entire thing? No, I don't. I think that we'll just continue to have different arguments on what is the right thing to do, but people still want to come to America. It's a debate on if they're doing it the right way or not, right? But what is the definition of the right way? People have their own breakdown. Let's check out CBS.
Well, video to our monitors take us to the Big Apple, where the federal racketeering and sex trafficking case against Sean Diddy Combs is underway. So here's what's happening right now. Jury selection started earlier this morning. The hip-hop artist faces 5 counts, including racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Combs pleaded not guilty, but faces decades in prison. So let's bring in CBS News correspondent Jerika Duncan. Jerika, first of all, good to see you, even though you're having to be under an umbrella there, my friend.
Great to see you, Reed.
We understand that you have an update on what happened in court. Tell me about that.
On Trump trying to tackle NIL.
That's right. It
I'll tell you in a
appears that
second,
at least 2 of those jurors have been seated. I just left court about 15 minutes ago, and they are still questioning jurors. Remember, they need 12 that they will seat and 6 alternates for this federal case against Sean Diddy Combs. And just to give you a sense of some of the questions that the jurors were asked before, they were questioned by the judge and also prosecutors.
I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you for 1 second, chat. If she's reporting on the Diddy trial, we gonna be here every day of the trial, bro. If what's her name? We gonna go back. Jerika Duncan. If Jerika Duncan is reporting on this trial every day, we're gonna be tapped in every day, stream to CBS News.
And they are still questioning
to get an
jurors.
update.
Remember,
I gotta
they
hear
need
again
12
from the top.
that they will seat and 6 alternates for this federal case against Sean Diddy Combs. And just to give you a sense of some of the questions that the jurors were asked before, they were questioned by the judge and also prosecutors as well as the defense team. If they had any issues with sexual assault, if they had any experience with it, their views from the prosecution on law enforcement, they were asked if they received any training or had any experience with psychiatry, psychology, addiction, law enforcement. They also asked about any questions or reservations they had about artists and the hip hop community.
Nah, bro, I'll be real. I don't know who the sketch artist is or what Diddy be going through in prison. But this don't look like him for real. Bro. Like, remember how they said Kodak Black went to jail and they cloned him? I don't know, but I had a question chat, Brother Hip Hop. What's your thought on Trump trying to tackle NIL? I thought he was tackling NIL today, but it was about the draft and the stadium being built. RFK, whatever they're doing for the Commanders, right? They had a good season. Now they want to, bring the draft and shit to DC. That works. But I don't think the traffic is ready for DC for draft. But NIL, that's going to be a whole other conversation for a whole other pod. We'll get there. But to the point, Diddy, I ain't never seen Diddy look like this in no caricature. I could be off, chat. Do you think it looks like Diddy? I just don't see it. But I'm here for Ms. Duncan to finish her report.
Witnesses that will testify under immunity. So this is just a few of the questions that sort of give us a look into what each side is looking for when it comes to that impartiality of a juror. And many times impartiality of a juror. And each side is looking.
I still missed it. Hold on. Now this does look like Diddy. They got Diddy looking like a Chester in this one for real. Like, I don't know, bro.
To look into what each side is looking for when it comes to that impartiality of a juror. And many times over, the judge mentioned that Sean Diddy Combs is presumed innocent unless he is found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. He mentioned that over and over again to each juror that was questioned. Last check, though, about 9 jurors had been questioned, 2 that we know that were seated, in which the prosecutor.
My single fellas out there who's watching the stream, you can see, I believe that's Miss Duncan's left hand. She don't have a ring on it, right? I want y'all to know, y'all can holler at her. Because as long as we stream the Diddy trial and CBS News continues to give this sister a chance to report and give us news, I damn sure am going to make sure that she's on the stream for you. Okay? Make sure, if anything, y'all like and subscribe to the channel. I am board hip hop lobbyist, professional lobbyist, like I said, in Florida. Our legislative session got extended till June 6th, right? They're having some infighting here. It is what it is. But guess what? I'm trying to build out a political channel, a YouTube channel, where I'm sharing my political commentary and things of that nature, because guess what? People need to be educated outside the nonsense. And today's nonsense is a little bit of the Diddy trial. And as I continue to stream and build my community out, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day as you're on your phone, maybe in the mall, in the car, wherever you are. Taking some time with me to tap into the stream. So make sure you like and subscribe on anything. But let's get back to this interview.
The defense agreed they were comfortable with seating those jurors. So a lot to learn throughout the next couple of days, which is how long the judge said this should last. They're hoping to get through about 50 jurors each day. But both sides recognize how difficult this case will be in terms of getting that right jury pool to make sure that folks don't come in here with preconceived ideas because of that video that went viral that we saw of what appears to be Sean Combs kicking and dragging his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. But this really comes down to a federal case, the U.S. government, United States government against Sean Combs, facing sex trafficking and racketeering charges, which could get him up to life in prison if he's convicted on all charges.
On YouTube, at least everybody on Twitch and
if I'm
TikTok.
in that courtroom, I have a huge question in my mind, whether I'm with a prosecution or defense, and that is, how can I seat a jury in a case against one of the most famous men on the planet, and especially now infamous, made more infamous by that video you talked about? It's a challenge.
It really is, Reed, and I think that's why even with the questionnaires that these jurors filled out, it was an opportunity for both sides to ask questions to those jurors based on how they filled out that questionnaire. There were some other telling moments in what we are now learning about some of the people and places, for instance, that jurors were asked about if they were familiar with. For instance, one juror said that they were familiar with, I believe it wasn't, stand by because it is wet outside and I want to make sure I get it right. It was number 88, and that was apparently Michael B. Jordan. And then there was number 117, Mike Myers. So these were jurors saying that they were familiar with pictures of these people, but just knowing them as actors or celebrities. Then there were parts where the judge said, what about number 133? You had a question about that person. And this was juror number 4. They said, I know them as a celebrity, but in that case, the judge didn't mention them by name. And just as I was leaving, another juror was asked about Kanye West. in terms of what that juror knew about Kanye West or their feelings or thoughts about him. So we don't know how that will play into this trial, whether
crazy.
this is a situation where maybe one of the witnesses or alleged victims says they saw people at a party, or whether these were just people that were at a Diddy party that we've talked about along with this case. So it's too early to presume exactly what that means, but there are a number of locations and people that these jurors were already shown to find out their connection to or just how familiar they are with some of these people and places.
All right, Jerika Duncan, CBS News. Always great to talk to you, my friend. Let's hope the rain lets up for the Met Gala that's happening in New York as well. We don't want to see anybody under an umbrella.
My bad. Yeah, my mic wasn't working. I just turned my volume down. I forgot to turn it back up, but I do have to change my settings some, I believe. I appreciate you in the chat for that. So I'll keep supporting the stream. Appreciate you. Let's see what else we got. Hold on, we got some Jasmine Crockett in here. What we got from Jasmine Crockett?
President Trump revealed today that he'd like to see massive and, frankly, unprecedented funding cuts across the federal government that would axe domestic spending to its lowest level in the modern era. And one of the few spending increases in the president's spending wish list that he's sending to Congress, he would raise the Pentagon's budget to $1 trillion, basically resulting in a 13% increase. But he called for $163 billion in cuts that target education, housing, health, climate, and safety net programs. That includes slashing the CDC's budget by $5 billion and also taking nearly $18 billion out of the NIH programs that are focused on research. The president also wants $26 billion cut by eliminating the government's rental assistance program and also asking to eliminate another program that helps Americans pay their heating bills. There's also a $12 billion cut to the Department of Education, of course, the department that the president has essentially vowed to dismantle and get rid of entirely. Now, I said if enacted because Congress by no means has to follow what the president has designed here. This is essentially a request to lawmakers, and it may not happen, especially if you listen to what some Republicans are saying, and certainly if you're listening to Democrats. My congressional source tonight is the Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, and it's great to have you here. I just wonder what you make of how this is playing out among Republicans, because Speaker Mike Johnson endorsed this. He praised it. But we heard from several Republicans who said they didn't like it. Senator Roger Wicker said that the president's advisors were apparently not listening because the Pentagon spending. Senator Mitch McConnell said it was material neglect. Susan Collins called it late and expressed concern over those cuts as well. What do you think is going to happen here?
Listen, I have no idea. Unfortunately, I don't feel like we're living at a time in which these representatives, whether they're senators or House members, are listening to their constituents. If you listen to your constituents, then you will hear pain. And that pain is spread across the political spectrum. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, the cuts that you talked about, they are going to impact everyone. And it's interesting, as we are going through reconciliation, we had a reconciliation markup in oversight as well as judiciary, so I had a very long night on Wednesday. And to listen to them, the things that they were not willing to say that they were okay with cutting, or the things that they were willing to cut, right? It's absolutely insane. And I have to tell you that the House budget Democrats have made sure that we have every single district listed out with the amount of people that will be impacted by the Medicaid cuts, with the amount of people that will be impacted by the SNAP cuts. But you even went a lot deeper there. And here's the reality. You said that he wants there to be a portion of the budget that goes up to $1 trillion on the defense side. And when we look at defense, you know who can't pass a clean budget or a clean audit? It's defense. They have failed the very last 7 audits. So why would they continue to get raises, which they always do, yet we're going to hurt the most vulnerable amongst us?
Yeah, and they're saying that it's...
I'll tell you now why, Sister Crockett, and I believe everybody kind of gets it across the board, right? Ask military veterans if you don't believe me in the chat, right? Republicans fund military vets a lot more. They'll get raises. You'll see a lot more infrastructure investment between trucks, planes, guns, everything, right? So Republicans historically have done that. At least people, you can go back to the Reagan years, they love Republicans. And you can say it to anybody. They could be diehard Democrat, diehard Obama, diehard Biden. But like, listen, hey, I'm paying more in taxes with Democrats in office. I'm getting less and less with Democrats in office. Let me turn my mic down a little bit. I think I'm a bit too loud. Got some red levels. But at the end of the day, let's turn down a little bit more. End of the day, Almost, damn, lost my train of thought on the stream, y'all. End of the day, damn, what was I talking about, chat? It just threw me off. Hold on, where was she at?
It's targeted. It's at the
Oh, yeah, Republicans, yeah. Republicans pay more for the military budget, excuse me, they had a brain fart, because that's the mindset. So you got diehard Democrats that serve in the military, Navy, armed services, or any mentioned armed services, Army, Navy, Marines, whatever. They will love Republicans because of the benefits. Now, the VA may be ass backwards. The VA will probably never be fixed by either Democrat or Republican. And that's one other issue, right? The issue is, if we're going to talk about it, the government caps how much you can make as an employee, right? So even if you're a doctor in the VA, you may be capped at like 80 to 100, maybe 120, right? But if you're on the private sector, you're probably making 200,000 plus. So you end up having a situation where the nurses, the doctors, the people that are working inside the VA realize that they're underpaid because it's a service. You're getting capped by the government telling you how much tax dollars will go towards your salary and benefits, right? And because of that, and doctors realize and people realize, they're like, you know what, hey, I'm going to have to leave. So the VA part will probably never be fixed. However, when it comes to benefits, when it comes to 80% disability, 99% disability, and when you get into that deeper conversation with military people who've been on the service, whether they've been shot or maybe they just have some kind of PTSD syndromes from being yelled at and going through basic training all the way through to when they left E6, E7, whatever, there's a part of they need help going through their trauma. But the psychologists, the therapists, and all the doctors combined realize they're underpaid in the system. So what ends up happening is they may come out and get private insurance, go to private doctors, private whatever, and live in communities like the number one place for retirees, the city of Jacksonville, right? For armed service retirees. And they may come and say, you know what? Where's the local VA hospital? Where's this? Where's that? And they'll invest in these things. But unless they build more hospitals and start paying more of the people that work inside these VA hospitals more, it's still going to be an issue. However, to the point, Republicans always fund the military more. Democrats cut it, put it more in service programs and things of that nature, safety net programs. But those safety net programs aren't really a Republican priority because some people on the Republican side, conservative side, don't believe that government should be doing all that, but they do believe that government should be making sure that we're protected. If war ever breaks out, that we're cutting edge and ready to fight back. So that's that. Let's get back to it.
For certain programs at the Pentagon, it wouldn't just be to boost overall spending, but I still think it's a good question in terms of what that looks like. But do you think the president will get what he wants here from Republicans? I mean, what is your sense of watching your colleagues across the aisle?
It seems like they do whatever he wants them to do at all times, right? Like behind closed doors, they will talk about how these things are crazy. You can find plenty of Republicans that will tell you that these tariffs are a problem. They will tell you that, and they know that it's a problem. This is why they don't want to go out and listen to their constituents by having town halls. This is exactly why, if you tune in and watch any of these hearings, when it comes down to marking up these bills where these cuts are supposed to be, you know who won't even defend them? The Republicans. We sat in hours and hours and hours of in listening to amendments as we were going through the markups. And every time we started calling out specific Republicans and said, Congressman such and such, what do you think? And they literally were silent. It was almost like they were told, don't say anything.
It's politics. What do you want them to say? They can't say anything realistically because guess what? They know that their constituents back home are diehard MAGA, diehard conservative, diehard Doge. Elon's not fucking up anything else. We had to come save our country. And because we had to come save our country, I may in private, publicly, between you and I, disagree, but publicly, I'm not saying none of this shit. Because guess what? I have to get reelected. And this is a situation Republicans and Democrats get in when they have too much power, right? They run on this narrative. And if you don't believe me, I could be aging myself here. I'll be 40 in August, right? When in 2006, before Obama got elected, right? When Bush was still president, the Democrats said, you know what, we need more conservative Democrats to run. Blue dog Democrats, right? Then they ran with these conservative Democrats who end up winning. The issue ended up being, and I'm dating it to help y'all a little bit, right? When Obama came in, he came in super progressive with healthcare, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, right? And all these different things. That didn't relate to those super conservative Democrats at the time. And they were like, listen, hey, they were on the fence about supporting Obamacare. You don't believe me? Google a guy named Alan Boyd, former Congressman Alan Boyd, who lost to a Republican because he supported Obamacare and waited maybe 6 to 8 months to endorse it, right? Because he realized in his rural part of Florida that his people weren't trying to hear that shit. Even though he had the mecca of black population in North Florida, the rural parts weren't trying to hear it. So guess what? When the election time came back around, the Democrats were like, hey, we're going to run. And the Republicans came and swept them out in 2010 for that midterm election, right? So fast forward 15 years. Now we're here. You get to a point of they know Doge is making the cuts. They know that the tariffs are fucking shit up. They know that the average everyday person in rural America is feeling it. But guess what? They preach so much indoctrination in the schools. They preach so much it's the trans and the immigrants coming to take your jobs. It's your trans coming to take your girls' awards in sports, and the immigrants are coming to take your jobs. And they're saying all of this so they have at least a background and say this is what the problem is, right? But they're not going to go out and say, hey, we're going to support this or the tariffs are hurting us, because they know that November 2026 is right around the corner, right? And if they go in their community and say this, they're going to lose some elections off top. But then the other part of it is this. They can still get voted out if their people are struggling. And the reality of people in Congress who are chasing checks and chasing dollars and chasing fundraising, because, again, the more you fundraise, the more you move up rank. And if you don't believe me, Google a guy named Al. I'll show you. You know what? I'll show you all after this. But all together, right? All it is about raising money. And they're disconnected from the impacts that Doge and everything else is happening on the average everyday person. And because of that, they really don't give a shit. But let's get back to this. Jasmine Crockett.
Because we can't win. We just have to vote down these common sense amendments and get through this, because this is what we've been told to do.
Well, and on the Pentagon spending part of this is the wish list includes the Golden Dome, which is basically this new missile defense shield, new space missions to Mars and also to the moon. The question is who would benefit from that? And based on the person who has massive federal contracts for that right now is Elon Musk. I do wonder, though, given the backlash that some Republicans have seen at town halls, and Democrats who are accused by some constituents of not doing enough to push back against Elon Musk, what you make of that and whether or not that will be in the final spending bill here.
I mean, it's all about making sure that he and his friends are happy. That's it. So, yeah, absolutely. I can see that, we've talked about this Gold Dome situation and Elon. I don't know that I'll see that in there. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't know. I think that they may say this is where we kind of draw the line. There was an increase even under President Biden for defense as well. And that came as a part of a negotiation to raise the debt ceiling the last time. They said
the issue I have is no bullshit. No bullshit, right? We could talk about debt ceiling, but the average American is in real debt, right? And they can't raise no damn ceiling on the debt, because when the light man call, when the cell phone man call, when the food man call, or Uber Eats, whoever the fuck is delivering the food, right? You got to pay that bill. And the fact of the matter is, you have Americans out here living in debt, struggling, trying to find out. Some are doing great. I've seen these guys on YouTube making $1 million a video. Guess what? That's why we're trying to build up the channel. So make sure you like and subscribe, because guess what? I'm trying to feed my family too. And I'm not asking for $1 or $5 right now, but guess what? When you do decide to have a membership or the Patreon or Discord, whatever I do, guess what? Just make sure you subscribe and support your boy, because I got a family to feed like everybody else. But everybody else living in debt, they can't just raise the national debt by a couple $100,000. Like, hey, listen, let me just get extra $100,000 in debt and I'll be able to take care of my bills right now. It would be great for the average American to do it. But you know what? What happens is, and I love Jasmine Crockett, not just Democrats, not just the black Democrats, just Republicans too, right? They'll go talk the bullshit. They'll go talk this bullshit to get you to a point of saying, you know what, yeah, the national debt, they're doing this and doing that. The average person don't care unless you're in the military. The average person in Congress only cares about the elderly and the military and the kids. You know why? One, elderly getting their damn Social Security and their Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it is. So they ain't got no damn money coming in. They need to get supported by the government. And guess what? They're the main ones calling when shit goes wrong. So they got to answer to them, and they vote. The military, you already know, we discussed that. Fine, it is what it is. But the kids, you need to make sure your kids have education. And guess what? That's why they always push jobs, jobs, jobs every time you damn have an election, right? At the end of the day, when you're out of jobs, education, and healthcare, because all that's technically the three things that you run a campaign on, right? When you get done with that, you start talking about national debt and raising the debt ceiling. The government about to shut down. Motherfucking house is about to shut down. Foreclosure is about to happen. People losing jobs. You know, UPS cut 20,000 jobs. And I think somebody told me there's a car factory that said, you know what? We were only building the cars here in America to send to Canada. But since we got tariffs, fuck it. We're going to close down our plant too. Fuck them 10,000 jobs, right? The issue is AI is taking over people's jobs. We have a whole situation in America, in the world right now. Some people are hurt, and the politicians are just getting in front of TV, getting in front of the camera, and telling you the same narratives that the average person don't give a shit about, right? You think I give a shit about a project 2025 or a national debt if I can't afford to feed my child today? No, I wouldn't give a shit about that. But that's what the average everyday person who's riding the bus right now is thinking, like, damn, how do I get through if I just eat this popcorn and give my baby something to do? It's great, but somebody else is living great. Like, you know what? My 401k is fucking hurting right now. My stock investments are hurting because the stock market is tanking. And regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, you're going in the grocery store, Publix, Kroger, Sam's, Costco, wherever, you feeling the same shit like everybody else is feeling. Like, damn, when the fuck we getting out of this shit? And then you get on TV and you hear this and oh yeah, they're raising national debt. Don't nobody give a shit because nobody's raising my debt. Nobody's saying, hey, you owe 28,000, here's an extra 100,000 to cover your shit so we can keep this shit moving, but the government doesn't. And that's the problem.
Well, when we get to the budget, you've got to make sure that you do this increase. But here's the bigger issue. We can talk about
all this crying. Hold on, Marlene. All this crying was happening. All this crying was happening on my channel and what I said, because guess what? It never made sense to me how Democrats can run for re-election and not talk about the fucking economy and not talk about the price of food and gas and all the shit that was right. Like, you know what? Yeah, the stock market's doing good. They're talking take away student loan debt. Bitch, if I ain't got no stocks, I do have some stocks. If I ain't got no stocks, I ain't worried about the fucking stock market and GDP. That is college level shit that the average person in 5th grade, 3rd grade, 6th grade, the average reading level for Americans don't know what the fuck a GDP is, right? So you're telling me that as Democrats, and you know what? I was saying something, but it didn't resonate because these blind ass, David Koresh ass legions, liberal leeches, just want to believe the bullshit. And said, you know what? If we take Joe old ass out, we just put a black woman up, we're going to win the black vote. Because guess what? I did believe, and I did say it, you can check the old videos, they would have lost the black vote if Kamala didn't get the nomination, right? For what it is. But guess what? The black people still didn't show up to vote. And even that, the niggas who did vote probably didn't vote for her anyway. It is what it is. So I was saying stuff not everybody was saying. Let me get to the chat real quick. I'm going to get back to Jasmine Crockett. Oh, why does it matter if your money is stolen through taxes, fees, privileges, tariffs, fines, and inflation, money printing? What really matters is the fact that you're being stolen from by your government. Derek Nelson, very true. I believe in that. I believe that the ignorance that people have is all of a sudden some elected officials are going to take the shit away, as if they get elected to the position, they get drafted into the NFL, the NBA, the MLB. You think they're the same motherfucker you knew back in middle school? No, they're not the same person they are, because guess what? Now they get access to power. They're the most popular person in their city, their state, their county right now. They can't walk through the grocery store without somebody saying, hey, congressman, hey, whatever, right? Yes, hold on. Haha, we got this. Joe did it for the illegals. Ignorance is no excuse. Ignorance is never an excuse. Let's get back to Jasmine Crockett. I appreciate the chat popping off, man. We've had over 46,000 people stop through the stream today. That's amazing. We only been here for like an hour. Love y'all, man. Make sure, if anything, you like and subscribe to the channel. I am your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist, professional lobbyist again in Florida. If it's your first time here, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend it with me. Let's get back to this, though.
about the specifics of cuts and where there's going to be increases. The real issues are this, is that when you start to cut, regardless of if you think it's a handout or whatever you think it is, this impacts all of us. Even if you are not the person that, say, is on Medicaid, when you have to show up to that hospital, or when you have to go see your doctor, or when your children are having to go to school with other children that aren't getting their health care. Listen, we learned this in the pandemic, that you can't just say, oh, well, I have enough money so I can escape this. You can't. This is going to impact those of us that aren't the 1%ers.
Well, and obviously we're seeing disagreement among Republicans. Democrats also are not agreeing. No one seems to be able to strike the balance on where you're going, what's the best way to respond to President Trump. Vice President J.D. Vance was asked tonight who he believes is leading the Democratic Party, and I want you to listen to his answer.
Do you think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, is the new leader? Could it be Vance AOC in 2028?
President AOC, the stuff of nightmares, Brett. Thank you. You've ruined my sleep for this evening.
Who is the leader of the Democratic Party?
I don't know. Honestly,
Do you think about it?
I think to the extent the Democrats have a leader, Donald J. Trump is the leader of the Democratic Party.
They're against him.
Because they're just against everything that he does.
Oh.
Is Trump leading the Democrats?
I'm not opposed to that statement. I'm not opposed to that statement because in the black culture, we have this thing. I just found out about black fatigue the other day. I'm going to make a whole other video about that, right? But we had this thing in the black community called the NAACP, right? And the Democrats act like the NAACP. Let me tell you how, right? Let's say the Gen 6 happened. If you're unfamiliar with Gen 6, go ahead and Google it. Let's say that there's news hanging from a school somewhere and black kids are impacted by it or whatever, right? Google the story. It's old, right? The NAACP ends up being reactionary to where they'll have the protests, they'll have the marches, they'll have everything there because they're not worried about. They'll react to the shit. But they'll never do anything proactive to stop the shit. Case in point, in Florida, when they banned AP African American studies or books in Florida, right? The NAACP has reacted to that because if they were proactive, guess what they would do? Make sure that the black kids, the children of color, knew how to read. Because the school to prison pipeline has been a thing since a long time that they knew that by third grade, every preacher talks about this, every black parishioner, every black activist says this. By third grade, they can't read. They're building prison beds for them. Where the fuck was NAACP at making sure these kids could read before they got to the third grade? They're not proactive. Democrats, the same thing. They're reacting to everything Trump does, right? They had a point where, I think Maxwell Frost, I believe Jasmine Crockett was a part of it. Those came in and employees are getting locked out of the Department of Education, right? And they went outside and had a protest as if these motherfuckers aren't elected by 700,000 people, right? 700,000 people didn't elect your ass to go protest like some dumbass activists, right? They elected your ass to be a leader, right? But instead of leading, being proactive, like, you know what, if he does this, let's get on the chessboard, let's have a reaction to this because we'll be proactive and we know what to expect. Because he campaigned on the shit, he's doing exactly the shit he said he would do. You react to the shit by having a protest. You react to the shit by going on CNN. You react to the shit by making sure you don't even read through the executive orders. You don't even read through the nonsense. You just make a statement. And you're elected to make a statement. Then you realize, no, I'm elected to be elected, so I got to go raise money for the party. So let me get on CNN. Let me do some interviews. Let me say something catchy. Hey, y'all give me some punchlines to say some shit to go viral. That's what they tell those staffers. They go viral, and guess what? Then you can get on the Act Blue. Start giving $5 and $10 and $25 monthly donations, man. This is the fucking game they playing. Then they get on TV and don't say shit. So when J.D. Vance says Donald Trump trying to quietly lead the Democrats, yeah, who is it? Hakeem Jeffries? Nobody even respects that pale-skinned brother, man. He's light-skinned. He ain't pale. Nobody even respects that nigga, man. AOC gets more respect, but AOC will be the death of the party because she's ineffective. You can only be progressive for so long because guess what? I'm going to get back to this in a second. Motherfucker can talk about a living wage all day. What is a living wage? How much is it? $15, $20, and you multiply that 40 hours a week times 52 weeks. Is that enough to survive in your city right now today? Tell me in the chat. $20 an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 hours a week. Can you live on that in your city today? Let me know in the chat, y'all. Let's get back to it.
Democratic Party?
Under no circumstances. And I think that he absolutely, in fact, he had my name in his mouth here recently. No, listen, that is not true. But I do think that one of our problems right now is that everybody's like, who is our leader? And I keep trying to tell people that you are waiting on somebody to come and save you, but your savior is you. It is the people. The most, as we listen to the vice president speak, or Vice President Kamala Harris, let me just say that. As we listened to her speak on Wednesday, one of the things that she talked about being inspired.
Hey. You're not talking about Kamala Harris, man. She didn't come out for an election. They said she was drunk on TV after the fact. She had nothing to say for 3.5 years when she was vice president. Why the fuck is she saying anything now? And I know people that work for her personally in the office. Listen, and nothing they told me, I ain't asking. Listen, the motherfucker sat here for 2 years and didn't say nothing, and all of a sudden in 2 months you want to be president. Fuck out of here. I ain't trying to hear nothing she got to say.
By was the people. And that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make sure that, listen, no matter how you associate politically, this is about us. And right now, Trump has made it about him and his rich billionaire friends.
So if you were asked who the leader of the Democratic Party is, you would not say any elected official. You would say the voters.
I would absolutely say the people.
Speaking of leadership and what that looks like, there was sad news in the House this week when your colleague Jerry Connolly announced that his cancer has returned. He's going to be stepping away from his role as the lead Democrat on House Oversight. That's a key position. Are you interested in taking that position?
Yeah, listen, I first must say that we have all benefited from the service of Jerry Connolly for 30 years. And I hate to hear it, but I am the vice ranker on the Oversight Committee. And if given an opportunity to lead, I am ready to go on day one.
And so you are throwing your hat in the ring for that?
If there is an election, he's not resigned his post, but we know that he's not seeking re-election, so it may be next term before that post opens.
Why do you think that you would be the best Democrat to take that position?
Because I think
which is essentially to fight the president and his agenda.
Exactly. It is. Listen, oversight has so much latitude, but beyond that, we are allowed to conduct.
It's not that. It's not. I'm gonna tell you right now. Let me fix her face real quick.
Investigation.
That's better. What's going to happen? In order for her to get that position, Jasmine Crockett going to have to go raise at least $2-3 million and give it to the Democrat. I'm going to be real with you. She knows and I know her getting on CNN and saying anything right now to say, hey, if I want this position, y'all know me, I have to go out there and do what? Get my name and face together so you can give me your $5 and $10 and $25 a month to fight Trump. And you'll get on the email threads and she'll be going around the country raising big money for the Democratic Party so that they can get these candidates for the midterm elections going. This is the fucking game they play with you people, right? You people, I don't mean not the blacks, but everybody, right? This is the games that the politicians play. You know this man's retiring, respectfully, he has cancer. You know, hopefully everything comes through. But him being elected over 7 years, you have the best healthcare coverage in the world, man. I know you're going to be okay. It's all right, right? However, this part isn't say, hey, yeah, I need to go out there and I just want to do it and serve and, you know, y'all pick the right person. What it's really saying is I'm getting in a campaign with the Democrats to see who can be the highest ranking person to raise money so I can be the ranking member on this. Because you get no committee assignments in Congress unless you're the top fundraiser. Why do you think Nancy Pelosi stayed around so long? You had all that money coming from from the wineries in California and the DC money. If she was a friend of yours, she made sure you had money. I'm going to tell you the facts, right? Nancy Pelosi used to love my former boss, Al Lawson. He was the tallest member in Congress at one point. He had a thing for tall black guys. It is what it is. Or maybe Nancy just had a thing for tall men, right? Either way, there was a Democratic primary against the former mayor of Jacksonville, Alvin Brown, right? And the rules with Democrats are you don't endorse, right? You don't endorse against a fellow Democrat, none of that. Nancy Pelosi ass came down from D.C., Jacksonville, just to endorse and support my old boss, Al Lawson. And here's the thing about it, right? That shit came with $10,000. It came with, hey, I'm doing this, so I need your vote for leader. I need your vote for me to be on the oversight committee. It's all politics. They're raising money, and you go, you know what? Hey, yes, Rep Crockett, you raised $2 million. I'm in a tough race down here in Georgia. I'm in a tough race down here in Missouri. I got you, man. I have my PAC send you $5,000 to help you. And when you get up, send it back to me, and we're going to make sure we take care of each other. That's the game. So if you didn't know, her going on CNN announcing it, respect across the board, and saying, hey, I'm about to get this fundraising game to let y'all know I'm staying here for a while because when you raise enough money, you keep everybody out. But then when you get too comfortable raising money, you end up having somebody like AOC beat you. That's literally what happened. But let's get back to it.
We are allowed to send out subpoenas and get documents. And here's the deal. My legal experience, I think, helps me be able to kind of guide through that part. But one thing we've always done really well as Democrats is get down and do the work. But we've got to communicate what it is that we were able to get in that work and translate it. And so I think that I can not only do the work, but make sure that people understand this is why we're having these problems at the FDA. This is why we're having these problems at the VA. This is why we have planes that are falling out of the sky. It is to do the investigation, find out about these firings and how they are impacting us. The information that this administration wants to hide from the American people, I want to make sure I can shine a light on it.
See, and that's great, right? Here's my issue. And I respect Jasmine Crockett, right? I have no issue with you exposing the fact of the FAA, the flights, the VA discrepancies like we talked about earlier on the stream, right? The issue I have is there's a young black lady out there in the world that's watching. There's a young black woman out there that's inspired by what you're doing and telling themselves, you know what? I never thought of being elected, but I want to do it because of Jasmine Crockett. I love the way she carries herself. I love her demeanor. I love the way she does this. diehard Democrat. And on the other side, there may be a conservative black woman who says, yeah, I hate everything about this winch. This garden hoe, right? This garden tool, excuse me. You know, whatever, right? My apologies. I'm not trying to be offensive. And they'll say, you know what? I want to fight to be everything that she's not on the conservative side, Trump loving everything else, regardless, right? There's some black woman who's inspired. But the issue is you're inspiring them wrong because you're not telling them how to do the job that you do. I don't mean like, oh, be elected and be on TV. Oh, how do you file a bill? How does the bill get made? How do you write a statute? Actually, what is the impact of shall, must, and may when you're writing law? Because those 3 words, and this is from 15 years of experience actually passing laws, those 3 words have 3 different meanings in politics. How do you get a markup? How do you get money from government? Not just SBA loan. How do you have a program that's working with suicide prevention, HIV, AIDS patients, whatever it may be, and say, you know what? This is something that the country needs to help invest in, that the state, our state needs, our community needs, and you're teaching them how to do that. That's the issue I have. It's great to expose the nonsense and the bullshit. It's great to expose what is happening with oversight and the fights. You need that. But guess what? People need to know how government works. But they also realize if they teach you how this shit works, you end up coming in and realizing they bullshitting you, you may vote their ass out. But then the other part of it is, the other part of people who don't vote is like, hey, they don't give a shit, so I'm not going to give a shit, and I'm not going to vote anyway. Let me find another video for us to get through. I appreciate everybody tapping in on the stream. We almost hit 50,000 people on the stream. Almost 50,000 y'all tapping in with your boy, man. Let me tap into the House floor proceedings. Because the Diddy trial, as y'all know, is just... Oh, we have updates on the Diddy trial. Let me flip back over. Hold on. Fox has given us some updates on the Diddy trial for those that are here. At 210, jurors in Diddy's trial are reviewing a list of notable individuals. The list so far include, I think Ms. Duncan said it earlier, Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Michelle Williams, Kid Cudi, Dallas Austin, Lorianne Gibson, Lauren London, Aubrey O'Day, Don Richard, and Cassie Ventura. Hold on, I got it. I'm at a board meeting. The judge has been engaging with prospective jurors who are answering a questionnaire that includes questions about biases against hip-hop artists. So far, 15 prospective jurors have been brought in with 3 excused. Whew. Diddy trial. Let's get back to this picture, man. Let's see these pictures. Let me know your thoughts on the Diddy trial. We've been over 50,000 people on the stream today, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Not consistently. We got about 170 concurrent right now. About 170 of y'all in the world are with your boy right now. Let me know where you tapping in from. I appreciate y'all. Let's get back to the chat. Let me read through some of the chat. So Derek, I appreciate Derek Nelson. I appreciate you tapping in. I think you've been on the stream a couple other times, man. Thank you for tapping in and always engaging in the chat. Great vibes as always, man. I really do appreciate your conversation and your commentary on the chat as well. Ignorance is bliss. Look at California. People are leaving. People are leaving California, but where are they going? I don't know. I want to know what states people are going to. I'm retired and had to go back to work to pay my bills. I was okay before COVID. Now I'm drowning in debt. About to have to move in with one of my children, Deborah Cook. My apologies for that, Deborah. I'll be praying for you because I know it's got to be tough. Nobody expects this. Nobody expected this, not lifestyle, but this economy to be the way it is right now, and things of that nature. So it's kind of tough for some folks, and I will be praying for you. I hope everything does work out. And I hope, people start moving in with folks. They get annoyed, and, people like their own space. So I hope that your kids not only respect you, but also give you your own space, your own time, and realize that, your mom's, and you deserve everything that you need. But I feel sorry for you having to be retired and go back to work to survive, man. It's tough out here in these streets. Jasmine Crockett is a DEI hire. She admits it. Mike, you're right. She did say that she went to her boss and told her, you should hire me for a job because I'm black. Right? I actually posted a comment about it. Actually, if you check out the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. You can see my comments on that. She did basically open up that she was a DEI hire, right? But it wasn't DEI, right? I think that we're mixing up DEI in some aspect of anybody who is black and unqualified or unqualified and happens to be a person of color doesn't deserve it, right? It's not just affirmative action either, right? So let's get that out. It's a fact of people who are veterans, people who are handicapped, people who are Asian American or other whatever, right? Other cultures. They're the ones that have been impacted by this as well. To say, you know what, I've been in the job for 20 years. I'm the only Asian American person here. And for some reason, I can't move up the ladder in the chain. Or I get fired for some odd reason, right? And it happens. But it's more about, it's less CRT. It was more about, hey, let's make sure that for the person coming in with autism, that we make sure we're taking care of them, that we have everything that they need, and we understand, because for some odd reason, check this out. If your kid has the IEP in elementary school and middle school and high school, right? And they go to college and they excel, they get a degree. And they still have to take, you know, their classes in 3 or 4 hour block segments. You know, I get it, right? At the same time, when they're coming into a job or a situation that could be uncomfortable for other people may not know, DEI also address some of that, right? So a lot of people just look at it as, oh, it's a black person. They may have went to Howard University. They're not qualified because they didn't go to Yale or Harvard or Brown, right? They went to FAMU. It's less of that and more of what I said earlier. Like, you know what, how can we make sure that people with autism are included? Veterans that are dealing with PTSD syndrome, that they don't want to hear firecrackers or loud noises at work. How can we provide for that? I think that gets lost in the mix of everything with the guy. Where honestly gets looked at as a Jasmine Crockett when she says something like that and say, you know what, hey, yeah, DEI is anybody black who is unqualified, anybody person who's unqualified. That's not it. Let me get back to the chat. I appreciate, Mike, your comment there. Can't live off 41K. I live in a van. Yeah, I think people need to be realistic because, and I'm gonna continue to say it as I stream when AOC has her live stream and Bernie Sanders has their live and they're having their rallies. I plan on having more content that have these conversations, because don't tell me a living wage. Tell me $41,000 a year and say, can you survive on $41,000 a year? Right? As a father, as a husband, as a wife, as a work, can you survive on $41,000 a year? Because when they say living wage and they say increased minimum wage, it's this high fallacy of, yes, they can afford to pay me more. People have never opened a business or had a job or had to cut payroll, right? But they're telling people, yes, you can increase your payroll by $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Yes, do it. Great. Let's have it, right? But they never ran a business and realized that me increasing your pay from $15 to $18 to $25 an hour or whatever is going to hurt my business and the way I can grow and scale, right? So because of that, you have this premonition of, oh, 41,000, you know, 41, that's not enough. And if Bernie Sanders and AOC came out and told you it was $41,000 a year that they were testifying and rallying for, a lot of people would be like, yeah, that ain't it, bro. Because guess what? Somebody on YouTube could show me how they can make $41,000 on one video about Kim Kardashian. Why the fuck would I go work for $20 an hour for your living wage? Get out of here. I'm gonna pull myself up by my bootstraps and make it happen. Make myself a mogul, but don't do what Diddy did. Let me get back to the chat. Minimum should be based on your individual state's overall income. In Cali, New York, and other states, you can't live on $20. Yeah, I agree. Cartier, I do agree that if you live in Alabama, $20 an hour is gonna be different. 41,000 in Alabama is different, but it's a fact of AOC and Bernie never say exactly what it is. Right? And they can't mandate to these states what the minimum wage or living wage should be. So they just tell people, they tell poor people that the issue is they're the problem, they're the boogeyman, they're the corporate bad guy, and you need to force them to give you more money, which isn't conducive. It's not realistic, right? That's my main point, but I get you. I appreciate y'all tapping in. I got 3 kids. I say no need, more money. Business raise everything to make up for the losses they take me more expensive. Chris, exactly. Marlene, you got a good point. Every time, Chris. West Texas, Georgia, Myrtle Beach, Arizona. Okay, I appreciate it. We got West Texas in the building, Georgia, Myrtle Beach. I love Myrtle Beach, Deborah. I love Myrtle Beach. I used to come for Black Bike Week. I used to date a young lady in college long time ago. I'm married now. But she used to be in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I have family in Charleston. we used to go up to Myrtle Beach for Black Bike Week and had a good old time. I actually want to go back to Myrtle Beach outside of that and just enjoy the vibes, man. It's a great beaches, great city, great restaurants. I actually, no lie, it was my first time Black Bike Week, and it was my first time drinking Bacardi 151, right? And I think the Super Bowl is going to be in Detroit that next year. So this kind of dates it back, right? And I got in traffic, bumping up in traffic, hop out the car. Then we had a van, right? And I rolled my ankle. I rolled my ankle so bad, I thought it was broken, that I had to walk out the van and keep walking, right? But I was so lit. It was about 50 cars. I'm hobbling between 50 cars. My girl, she didn't care, right? I wasn't doing nothing crazy. I had females hollering at me. I'm getting weed and drinks from other people in the traffic. Like, hey, man, you all right, bro? We saw you touch your ankle, but it was a good vibe, right? Ever since then, I always loved Myrtle Beach, right? So I need to go back, have a good ass time in the city, man, make it work. But appreciate you tapping in, Deborah. And again, praying for you, man. I know everything gonna work out, man. I think, yeah, Deborah, we got you. We got you over here. Ephraim, flawed logic, completely flawed logic. From who? Explain to me, Ephraim. You're still on the Dem side? Listen, I gotta make money, man. It don't matter. Republican side, Democrat side. I just want to make money. It don't matter for me. I can live off $41,000. Live it in the studio apartment. Go to the food pantry. What I'm doing now. I get you, Deborah. Fair job used to make. Yeah. Derek, I'll be real with you. It used to take a lot more skill to sell shoes. And suits. I remember growing up, you used to go to the store. The gentleman would know how to measure your suit, and you know what I'm saying, like little simple things. Even McDonald's, they used to cook the food fresh for you. And I think we got away from that because there are a lot of skills that just aren't there inside anymore. It's one of those things. But let's get the Diddy thing is kind of boring. Let's see. What else do we have going on politically? Y'all want to spend some time with your boy. I appreciate y'all tapping in. There's some executive orders that Trump supposed to sign today. Waiting for that too. I don't think this is old.
Requesting that he accept Governor Huckabee's, or excuse me, Ambassador Huckabee's credentials.
That's all. So the Hill will have it live. I think we may have any more live news to cover, y'all. Actually, I did want to see something. This Warnock heckler. Because Jasmine Crockett said earlier that the Democrats are afraid to go home. The Republicans afraid to go home and talk about it. I want to hear what happened with Raphael Warnock last night.
Good afternoon, Senator. First of all, I want to thank you for coming. I am the son of a naturalized Ethiopian immigrant and an Adolf. By Adolf, I mean African descendant of former slaves. And my parents taught me, while being respectful to power, to speak truth, to not simply exist, but when I've lived, there will be evidence that I was here. And I voted to put you in office. You represent my voice. And I have to ask you about the way we spend our money. My voice is against using our money to fund what many people would consider a genocide. So, the American people seem to be against continually arming Israel as we watch them bomb Palestinians off the planet.
My bad on the road,
as
y'all.
the descendant of an African man and a former slave, you know, we watched this happen to us. We've seen this happen in different countries. I have to ask you, what side of the fence are you on?
Here we go.
Where's your voice as it relates to stopping the continual arming of Israel? We've seen Palestinian children being blasted, and not only that, even with a ceasefire, we see more and more approvals of arms being sent over and over again. So Israel is relentless. And so I have to ask you, what are you doing? Where are you on this? You know, what specifically are you saying?
Thank you so much. So,
I believe in the humanity of all of God's children, and that you have to center the concerns of the most marginalized. And that's why I was one of the first in the Senate to call for a ceasefire. In addition to that, I pressed the Biden administration. I pushed the Netanyahu administration around the ways in which humanitarian aid was not even getting into Gaza. I voted to give $10 billion in humanitarian aid to Gaza.
Did you vote to give $10 billion in humanitarian aid to any urban community in America? Now, I'm getting to the battle of this, but I mean, to be real, we could talk about how much money we send into Gaza and Israel and Palestine, but we have problems here in America too. What are we doing about that, Congressman? Senator?
My North Star in this whole conflict is a world that embraces the children on both sides of this conflict. Because here's the thing that mortal enemies have in common. We all want our children to be okay. Now, we all do. And I said this on the floor of the Senate when I called for the ceasefire at a time when folks felt like you couldn't even say that word. I often wondered as a preacher and as a seminary student, what did the book of Isaiah mean? What did the prophet
See, and this is why you can't have pastors be politicians, because you can't trust them. Because you can easily see the flip of, he's going to avoid this question. That's probably why he got heckled, right? He's leaning toward the cloth, the theologian part, the seminary part, but nigga, you a senator now. We may be in the church, but I'm not here for the Bible. I'm here to get answers about my question to you, right? And you can see when these people start bullshitting you in the church, man. This is why you cannot trust these poverty pimp pastors, man. Get them from the pulpit. Tell Meredith to say what's up, man.
What did it mean when he said the lion will lie down next to a lamb?
Hold on, my bad. I gotta go back. Good Damn it, y'all.
So Israel's relentless.
My bad.
I pressed the Biden administration $1 in humanitarian aid to Gaza.
Yeah, we are. We're here.
On both sides of this conflict.
My bad, y'all.
Okay. Now, we all do. And I said this on the floor of the Senate when I called for the ceasefire at a time when folks felt like you couldn't even say that word. I often wondered as a preacher and as a seminary student.
Yeah, here we go. Bullshit.
What did the book of Isaiah mean? What did the prophet mean when he said the lion will lie down next to the lamb, and the little child shall lead them? And it was really in the context of this awful, awful conflict.
Pastor, shut up. That's what we don't say enough of. When the pastor say some bullshit, check him, because guess what? You're leaning towards something that doesn't relate to what the fuck I'm asking. I'm having a bitch.
The brutal and awful attack on October 6th, the taking of hostages, the sweeping bombing that killed way too many civilians, way too many children. We could go on and talk about this same conflict.
See, and they say Democrats not dealing with this shit. You see, Warnock went up there trying to preach because he in the church and he feel like, I still got the theologian cloth on me. No, nigga, you don't. You a senator. And the bullshit that you pushing, people don't want to believe in, bruh. Tell Meredith to say what's up. Either way, this is what's wrong with politicians today. And this is why, again, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. You can't trust these politicians who have a career being a pastor because they were a sinner and now they got 2 coats of liars on their ass and they try to convince you some bullshit a real question that you're asking, right? And the problem is, again, Whatnot sucks. I'm gonna tell you a real story. I'm gonna tell you a real ass story. I don't care if it gets out, right? I got reached out to by the Kamala Harris team to help in Georgia, right? To help with outreach. When I tell you, Raphael Warnock's staff, his senior advisor, Meredith, whatever the fuck her last name is, and her people decided to steal the damn campaign money and not do any voter outreach, having concerts and bullshit and not paying for nothing. Listen, when they talk about how Kamala Harris lost Georgia, look at Raphael Warnock and his staff. Look at Raphael Warnock, what her name was, Eureka with the fat nose looking like a Fraggle Rock. But that's how Kamala Harris lost Georgia. Because Raphael Warnock's staff was stealing the fucking campaign money. Okay? That's what happened in Georgia. They don't want to be real about the bullshit. Go ask Raphael Warnock and go ask Meredith how much money they got from Kamala Harris and the DNC to do get out the vote outreach in Georgia and why they lost because they've been pocketing the fucking money. That's how real I am on the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe because they are bullshitting y'all, man. Warnock down here talking this nonsense and trying to preach because guess what? He knows, just like everyone else, that they pocketing this campaign money just like DeSantis did in Florida, man. All they do is get out here, hey, come out to vote. We fighting Trump. You gotta vote Kamala. You gotta vote for Kamala. The whole time they sitting around here holding on to the bag. Hey, we got $200,000 left. How much you want to put out? Only put $30,000 out in the street because when this is over, we gonna have enough money for everybody to go to vacations and go to Ghana and go to DR and go to Italy and go to France. That's what the fuck the Democrats do with your money. Ask Raphael Warnock why his senior advisor was pocketing the money from the Kamala campaign. Share that shit, clip that, and let it go viral. Ask Raphael Warnock, even in this town hall or the next one, why his staff was pocketing the Kamala Harris campaign money. These niggas full of shit is what's happening. I'm gonna give you the real. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let's get back to it, man.
So,
all right. Thank you.
So hold on.
Thank you.
So
it's bullshit, man. You think people don't see the nonsense, bro?
All right, let's.
Warnock is used to being a pastor. He's not used to people checking. I'm gonna tell you, I also heard the nigga has a bad attitude. It is what it is. You're a senator, I'm not. You feel that you Martin Luther King in the flesh, and they plan on pumping him up to run for president. But guess what? They're not following you like the sheep of your flock, or the sheep, whatever you are, to the flock of your church. Those sheep, they're not following you, bro, to the president. That's the thing. We're not trying to pump himself up to run for president. AOC is too. Nigga, they ain't voting for you.
Continue. Thank you.
That's as real as I can get.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and continue. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and continue. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to. We're going to continue with the program.
Do you want me to answer the question?
Thank you.
The question.
Let us just finish.
I will answer the question, but I'm not going to shout.
That's bullshit.
No, sister, I respect you. Listen, I respect you, and I will answer your question.
I'm telling you now, these politicians don't respect the people out here in these streets, bro. You know why? Because if he respected them, he would have had his town hall on a random ass day with some bullshit that he talking about. He would actually come with some answers and not just attacking Donald Trump. That's all these Democrats want to do is come back to your neighborhood and stir the pot, bro. Stir the pot, get some money. Yeah, we were able to do this. But here's the evil shit they're doing to take away your education and your right to fuck all that, bro. It's bullshit. It's poverty pimping from a poverty pimp who's known to be a professional pulpit.
But I'm not going to shout.
Let's continue to be respectful of each other.
No, man, we didn't respect.
Let's continue
respect is out
to be
the window,
respectful.
man. People can't pay their fucking bills in these streets. UPS fired 20,000 motherfuckers last week. Ain't no respect.
Of each other.
Ain't no respect, because some of those jobs are going to be people in Atlanta.
Thank you. Let's continue to be respectful of each other.
So I think I'm not good issue, or we can have a conversation, but we can't do both of those things. And activist myself, and who I have to tell you, we have to decide, as somebody who is an activist myself and who comes from the activist community, you can come and and express yourself. This is a very passionate issue, or we can have a conversation, but we can't do both of those things.
He just copping a way out, bro. Because good and damn well, whatever this lady was talking about, your ass didn't want to address. And that's how it is with every politician. Anytime you press them, they're going to find a way to take the high road and have their supporters say, yeah, you're right. Meeting. You're never going to meet with me. When your chief of staff shares my name, oh, they're the ones? No, ignore them. They're never getting a meeting. They're never getting any conversation. So, this is the last time doing a town hall like this, because he knows, the thing is, what it is, excuse me, I mean to burp you out here in your face on the stream. He knows he can't go to certain parts of Georgia with this shit. And you're the senator that represents everybody. So you go down to Athens, go down to Thomasville, go down to Macon, go down to other parts of Georgia, or throughout Georgia. It's going to be worse than this. Because it's bullshit that y'all selling. And people are tired of it, man. If we're not losers, they're going to blame it on race. They're not going to look at the fact that the niggas are a disgrace. Think about that too, man.
I mean, we can do one or the other. So,
Bullshit.
I acknowledge that maybe you would rather just make your point. And so I take it that that's what you want to do, make your point. But if you want to have a conversation, not just today, but in the days ahead, I'm happy to have that conversation with you.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
And I also think that as incredibly important as this issue is, and it's a matter of life and death, it is. There are other issues here, and these folks deserve to be heard as well.
Yeah, Warnock had to deal with that. But it happens. It's like, I don't think anybody that is in Congress, hold on. Hakeem Jeffries holding a press conference? This today, this now? 15. I got a call at 3:30. I know good and damn well. Hold on. Got it.
In front of the podium.
Yeah, y'all heard about this?
So, naturally, for me, when this happened, I'm devastated because my grandson was with me the whole winter. So, it goes back, he go back to his mama to the summer, and he got killed. So it was very devastating to us. Kind of a lot of anger feelings at first. But for me, I have to go to spiritual. I have to go spiritual to myself to understand what's really going on. If I can see through the fake media and all that stuff. So the media have done nothing towards me to make me feel about anything what I'm saying. Mine's all natural coming from God. So I just, it's hurting on both sides. Everybody's hurting on this. The family, the officer, I was crying about what happened to the innocent officer. So that's all it's all about. It's all about healing each other. Everybody make a mistake. Like I say, it was an emotional mistake by everybody.
Do you know who your son was talking to during his arraignment on Saturday morning when he said he'll be?
I have no more questions. I want to answer more.
Do you know who the gun belonged to that Ryan Hinton was holding?
No, I do not. And we're not going to discuss anything related to the criminal case. We're not here to represent Rodney in the criminal matter, so that's something you have to talk to his criminal lawyer about.
Just to clarify, it was his cousin who spoke. He said Ryan might have been locked out that Wednesday night before that Thursday. Just to clarify, is that what he was saying?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Do you know if the officer involved has been placed on administrative leave or anything like that?
It's my understanding that during officer-involved shootings, the officer is placed on administrative leave. I don't know. I believe it's 7 days, but I'm not 100% sure.
Mr. Wright, I know you've been around for a minute, and the circumstances here are just incredibly unique and truly.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with this story, chat, just a quick recap. I heard about it this weekend. Saw the headline. Basically, that a deputy officer killed, I guess, his man's son the other day. And in retaliation, the gentleman happened to find the deputy and kill him that following day. And this is real unique in the aspect of the relations between law enforcement and black communities. And I think it'll be a very interesting trial in future with this because this is very unexpected, right? At least the narrative is unique in itself because typically you hear about these crimes, the shootings. You have people from different aspects saying, hey, Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. The protest ensues, right? The police officers release paid administrative leave. People get mad, paid administrative leave. But guess what? We have unions. Just like the NBA has unions. Draymond go and kick somebody in the nuts. Instead of them suspending him from the league for a whole year, give him a $200,000 fine. Guess what? Administrative leave. You're still getting paid, but you got to pay us whatever, right? Same thing. That's what the unions do. But we want to have a conversation about unions and union busting. That's a whole other conversation, a whole other day. But to the main point, this is very unique in itself. We've heard of George Floyd, we've heard of Sandra Bland, we've heard of Trayvon Martin, right? The Gen 6. Even though Gen 6 wasn't, but it was black, right? This is unique because I haven't heard of an officer being killed by a parent after they killed the son, right? Or the child. And it's kind of crazy. JKL Pop, how you doing? We're watching the live stream of this case out of Cincinnati, Ohio. A father was charged with killing a deputy a day after the police killed his son. This is the live press conference. I'm going to get back to it real quick instead of y'all hearing me. Let's hear it.
To just forgive one another. We want everyone to kind of just wait and let this process, play itself out. Let's see what the investigation for the shooting of Ryan turns out. Let's wait and see what the investigation as it relates to Rodney, and just pray for the family of the officer, pray for this family. So that's, I would hope that the tensions in this city would relax, that everyone would just wait and not rush to judgment on either side, and hopefully we can get through this this very tragic situation.
All right, it's a sad situation, honestly. I think anytime you have an officer involved shooting and things of that nature,
has anything to do with lowering the high cost of living in the United States of America. Not a single bill, no executive.
Go to the stream. Bet on that. We're gonna get to Hakeem Jeffries live now. It is Hakeem Jeffries, y'all. Not live. I thought it was.
Committee, will you support your fellow New Yorker if she decides to make that move and run for that seat? And also, could you talk
asking about AOC potentially running for president?
Who currently holds that position and sort of his legacy here in the Congress? He has served, I think, during your entire tenure here in the House of Representatives.
Well, Jerry Conley has been a tremendous member of the House. And a very forceful representative for the people that he serves in Northern Virginia. He's still a member of Congress. He's on leave, as it relates to his position as the top Democrat on the oversight position. And so we'll see what decisions Jerry Conley makes moving forward. We're praying for him. He's in the battle of his life, as he has indicated. And we'll see, what decisions he makes moving forward. If there's a vacancy at some point, which we know there will be, based on the fact that Representative Conley has said he's not seeking re-election, then there will be a number of strong candidates who will move forward. Representative Ocasio-Cortez will, of course, be a very compelling candidate for she to make that decision to run. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So this goes back to the Jasmine Crockett thing earlier. So this kind of pieces together, I guess, what we were saying earlier about the fundraiser. So this would be essentially AOC versus Jasmine Crockett for that ranking position on that. And it would be, okay, whoever raises the most money will essentially get that spot. So it's kind of funny to see that come out with this press conference. Let's go back to Hakeem Jeffries.
Here every single day, and that things fall your direction, you might be able to stop some of this on the floor.
Asking some solid questions.
Well, House Democrats continue to show up, as was the case during every single vote of consequence when able. Like every single House Democrat voted against the reckless Republican budget, the big ugly bill that they are trying to jam down the throats of the American people. In late February, as well as most recently. In late February, you had Brittany Pedersen, who, because Republicans refused to allow new members to vote remotely, even though the technology exists to do it, and it's not a partisan issue, it's not a Democratic issue or Republican issue, it's an issue that applies to everyone. But because Republicans refused to allow Brittany Pedersen to vote remotely, even though the majority of members of the House would support that, Brittany got on a plane from Colorado, brought her infant son, Sam, with her,
I got a call,
in order to
y'all.
make sure that
One
she
second.
was present to cast a vote against the Republican effort to decimate the health care of the American people. And at the same time, Kevin Mullen, literally, who had just had several surgeries, including complications from one related to his knee, got on a plane from Northern California, flew across the country with his wife so that she could change his IV midair on the plane in order to make it. I don't think House Democrats need any motivation beyond standing up for their constituents in the face of this reckless and dangerous and extreme Republican budget that they're trying to jam down the throats of the American people. We have showed up. We'll continue to show up and stand up and speak up on behalf of the American people. Thanks.
Dear Jeffries, it's Teacher Appreciation Week and tomorrow's Teacher Appreciation Day. Can you talk a little bit about your favorite teachers growing up? And then in addition to that, black men make up just 1% of the teacher workforce. Is there anything that the federal government can do to increase the number of black men in education?
Well, one, we certainly look forward to continuing to celebrate our educators, including those who are members of Congress, like Representative Jahana Hayes, who was the Educator of the Year several years back, and we're very proud of her, and several others, like Greg Landsman, and many, many others who have been educators throughout their careers. And we know Frederick Douglass once made the observation, it is easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men, and of course, broken women. And so the United States of America has to continue to celebrate and lift up our public schools, our educators, and our capacity to make sure that people receive a first-rate education so that they have a pathway into the American dream. Republicans are trying to actually decimate public schools by shutting down the Department of Education. The contrast couldn't be any clearer. I've had several consequential teachers throughout the years. I'll refrain from mentioning any of them. I still have to get reelected every other year. And so I'm not going to choose sides other than to say I'm thankful for my elementary school teachers, my high school teachers, and those that I met and learn from in terms of higher education. I think studies have consistently shown that having a diverse group of educators, which would include African American educators and men in particular, where there has been a shortage, particularly in many urban communities across the country, is something that would benefit everyone, particularly in places like many of the neighborhoods that I represent. Thanks.
Peter Jeffries, can you speak to the delays and cancellations that we're seeing in Newark, your reaction to that, and what, if anything, you can do about it?
Well, it's certainly something that I think we're all invested in looking into as it relates to the ability of the American people to be able to travel in an efficient way. We do know that the Trump administration has decimated the FAA in a variety of different ways, and they've been doing this from the very beginning. They are breaking the federal government, and as part of breaking the federal government, the Trump administration is breaking the FAA. And whether the specific situation is at Newark Airport has anything to do with that remains to be seen, but it's my expectation that the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee will look into this situation, that we should get some answers and figure out how to get it turned around. I flew out of Newark earlier this morning, and there is a long delay. Many flights have been canceled, and for those that are not canceled, there's a long delay. Part of the challenge at Newark, of course, is that there's only one runway at this particular point in time, and whether that runway situation has to do with air traffic controllers and a shortage, it all needs to be figured out. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Earlier today, Trump floated the idea of tariffs on foreign films, says he has not come to a final decision. But in recent years, movies, TV shows, they have moved out of the United States. What policies or steps do you want to see from the federal or state level to help bring movies, TV shows back to the United States, keep them in the United States, whether it's Hollywood, Georgia, or New York?
Well, the film and television tax credit that has existed for a while in New York has been an important part of continuing to sustain and grow domestic film and TV production. And I certainly think that using the tax code in that way is actually a positive way to incentivize as much production as possible in the United States of America. In terms of this idea or that idea that Donald Trump continues to throw out there, again, it's all a distraction from the fact that Donald Trump's first 100 days have been a debacle. He has failed the American people. The core promise that Donald Trump made and that Republicans made to the American people on the campaign trail repeatedly was that they were going to fix a broken economy and drive down the high cost of living. In fact, Donald Trump said that costs would go down on day one. The reason why he's the most unpopular president in modern American history after the first 100 days, despite all of the big talk of a mandate and the Democratic Party being in retreat, is that he has failed on the economy. And Republicans have failed on the economy. And so all the random stuff that gets thrown out there, which is not how policy should be made in a sound manner, all the random stuff that gets thrown out there, it's just hard to take it seriously, and it's hard to evaluate it outside of the context of Donald Trump trying to distract the American people from the fact that he's been a failure as president. The House Republicans are failing. They are completely in retreat. They are canceling committee hearings. They keep blowing through their own deadlines. Originally, this big ugly bill was supposed to be enacted by early April. We're now in May. They're canceling hearings. They said, well, we're going to get this done by Memorial Day. That ain't happening either.
Oh.
And it's because the American people view these Republican policies as dangerous and harmful. And Republicans haven't figured out how to break away from being a rubber stamp for Trump's extreme agenda, and that's why we're seeing this level of paralysis.
See, the thing is, happy to hop back on the stream here. They saw how the election turned out last cycle, right? They saw how how Donald Trump beat Governor DeSantis because he thought that the Trump reign was over. Then he saw how Joe Biden's debate happened, how he bowed out and they put Kamala Harris up. They made it about race. Race loss. He won the race, right? But Republicans are going to do exactly what Trump says in lockstep and key with the agenda because they won overwhelmingly the majority of the states in the country, right? So why would they go against him now? And that's the issue the Democrats have to say, you know what, damn, hey, they're not doing what they want. And behind closed doors, they're anti-tariff. Yes, I've heard Republicans in the state legislature here in Florida say the same thing about the tariffs and the Trump policies. But they're not going to say it publicly. But again, the Democrats don't have an answer. And if they had a real answer and they actually understood people, that they would say, you know what, here's what our response would be. But it's not that. Let's get back to Hakeem Jeffries. I appreciate y'all tapping into the stream.
Reckless approach to the economy that is actively hurting them and the American people. Thanks.
Thank you, Leader. We hear a lot from Republicans who would like for Democrats to keep talking about the immigration issue because they feel this is an issue that the majority of Americans are on their side with. Do you think Democrats have learned anything from the previous election cycle?
Poll after poll after poll now actually has Donald Trump underwater on the immigration issue.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean, chat? Put this other poll. I'll put another poll up. I'll take a quick break before I lose myself. All right.
Well, you know, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, as they've indicated, they're still citizens. They still care about this country. And, you know, if they have something to say, they're going to say it. As House Democrats, we're going to continue to keep our focus on the economy, on driving down the high cost of living, on protecting and strengthening Medicare.
When y'all had the presidency and everything, y'all weren't driving down the cost of nothing. Now, mind you, some of it was the war in Ukraine and Russia, the fertilizer prices that the farmers were talking about on TikTok and other places for years, but y'all didn't do anything to drive down prices. And quietly, Democrats not doing nothing now. If you want to be all the way real about it, what are Democrats doing to help besides complaining? Because they're not even part of, like, you know what I'm saying, even though it's Republican leadership, this could be a bipartisan piece of legislation. We can work to make this better because you know what? You're right. We were wrong. Let's work on something together. It's none of that. Because it's too far right, too far left. There's nothing in the middle for the average everyday person. And that's the problem. The American people getting pimped. And I had never been pimped. But guess what? I'm getting pimped like the rest of y'all right now. Let's get back to Jeffries.
Attacks. I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Jasmine, but of course we'll make sure that she has all the protection, both locally and in Washington, D.C., that she needs.
Well, Jasmine Crockett.
Do you and Senator Booker have anything else planned moving forward? Anything you're looking forward to on that?
To the extent we do, we'll announce that at a time and date of our choosing. Thanks.
Senator Jeffries, how do you feel about the Senate stablecoin bill, the Genius Act?
Haven't had an opportunity to take a look at it.
Do you favor giving that industry, a more favorable regulatory regime than what they've got now?
I think the current situation where there is no regulation will become increasingly untenable. But I think whatever happens, it's got to be done in a bipartisan way, which is what, as I understand it, the Democratic senators are trying to achieve. Last question.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. So now we have President Trump's budget proposal for funding the government, and we have budget reconciliation. How are House Democrats kind of showing the difference between these two, talking to constituents? And
Question is so low. If y'all can't hear him, my apologies. It's probably my last set of the screen.
Affordable energy and his concerns on cuts to that.
I have not seen Representative Lawler's comments on affordable energy. I don't know whether they were made at his very active town hall meeting, but do look forward to seeing those things. And I commend those Republicans who actually are having town hall meetings, because the overwhelming majority of them are running away from them.
We got to see some. We got to live stream some of these town hall
every
meetings.
single one of them are actively supporting, including Representative Lawler, Trump's extreme agenda. And it's all part of the same thing, right? The budget, the reconciliation, the appropriations process, it's all part of an extreme Republican agenda that they are trying to jam down the throats of the American people.
But they won,
without
Hakeem.
engaging in any effort to solve problems on behalf of hardworking American taxpayers in a bipartisan manner.
Hakeem, they won. And y'all haven't been bipartisan, man. All y'all have done is attack. And they put out their shit that's been bad and good. Bad and good. Bad and bad. Y'all haven't had no answers. And the thing is, that this is my shit. I'm gonna let them finish. I'm gonna say my piece.
Why every single generic ballot, including most recently Fox News, has had Democrats up in Fox News by 7 points. It's because the American people understand that Donald Trump and House Republicans have broken their promises to them to make life better. And
they didn't promise to make life better, bro. They made a promise to make America great again. And if you heard make life better in all the shit that Donald Trump said, Hakeem, then you weren't listening, bro. Just like Democrats don't listen to nobody. Somehow you heard. And this entire fucking narrative for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, Donald Trump been running. Make America great again is not make America better. It could be translated that way. It could be read and interpreted that way, but that's not what the fuck they said. And for you even saying that proves you got to touch like the rest of them, Hakeem, because guess what? I don't see leader when I see you as the Democrats. No, I don't see leader when I see you, bro. I see an elected official, a soft-spoken ass Brooklyn nigga who cannot do shit. And sorry for saying the N-word on the stream. I know YouTube may dig me. My apologies. I'm trying to get better. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more.
And we're going to continue to be very clear with the American people. We hear you, we see you, we feel you.
No, you don't.
House Democrats are determined to make life better.
They're not. You're not. You're determined to go raise some money for the DNC, for the Democratic National Committee, and whatever other PACs, super PACs, whatever. That's what y'all committed to. If you were committed to the American people, Hakeem, House Democrats, you'd have never lost them in the first place. Think about that shit. You don't lose a bitch that you have. You ain't never heard a pimp talk about he done lost a trick on some other shit, because guess what? You don't lose some shit when you have them. When you have a loving wife or a loving husband, you don't lose them to the streets. Y'all lost the people to the streets, in the streets with the protests, and y'all all of a sudden talking about something, we listen to the American people. Bitch, you wasn't listening for the past 10 years. Y'all haven't been listening since Obama won in 08. Barely, maybe half barely won in 12. Democrats been losing all the way through. I don't care about Biden. Y'all been losing. Because you still running on the bullshit. How you saving American people? You don't even listen to American people, bro. Were you alive on election night? Because you look dead.
Better for you.
The fuck?
Thank you, everyone.
Walk off. Listen, I'm happy this shit's over. Listen, I have to go get my son from daycare. But I appreciate y'all tapping on the stream today. We've been on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, and we've had over 56,000 people stop in the stream. That's the most ever on this channel. Now, if it's the first time here, I appreciate you tapping in, because guess what? In October, when they had this narrative about black men not voting or black men voting for Donald Trump and not supporting Kamala Harris, I had launched my channel. We had 46 people here when we launched. Today, I started off with 680 when we started this stream. We're right above 700. 680 when we started. 79. Right now, we are at 896. If I can get 4 of y'all just to subscribe so we can get 800, I would love it. That would be a major achievement, because we'll almost be at 1,000, right? I'm trying to build a strong, small community here of people who would not only like to hear from me and see me talk politics, but give a nice political analysis from someone who has not only elected members to the United States Congress, help elect members to state legislatures and mayors and city council members and all those different things, but I'm a professional lobbyist, so I've helped change laws, put constitutional amendments on the ballot. I've helped nonprofits secure government resources so that they can help with HIV prevention, suicide prevention, at-risk youth, charter schools, children dealing with PTSD syndromes because they're used to hearing gunshots and shit and that nature. So guess what? I'm doing what I got to do on my channel to help build a community of people, because guess what? I never wanted to work in politics. I was fired from my day job my last semester in college. I took an unpaid internship, and 15 years later, I'm one of the top political minds in the third largest state in the country. I'm only doing this channel to help people because, you know what? I just started doing client work. I ain't going to hold you. I love my clients. I love the work that we do. But guess what? I would rather build a community of people who are educated and know what the hell they want to do. So for the 80 people that are still here, I appreciate y'all tapping in. If you've been here throughout the whole duration, thank you as we continue to grow this channel. But let me go through. Thank my people. Mark coming through. Stomp Puppets, Trump 2028. He's a potato brain. Deborah Cook. Hey, Deborah, we'll be praying for you. Thank you for tapping into the stream. I know you're retired. You shared earlier how you have to move back in with your kids, food pantry, things of that nature, $41,000 a year. It will be great. Guess what? I'm hoping everything goes great. And here's what I promise to you, Deborah. We grow this community out, if we build it out, and you're still here with me, I'm gonna make sure that we raise some funds to help you. You feel me? And we can't do it by ourselves. I ain't asking for $5 and $1 and $10 for me. I want to help people because I think that's what not the government's supposed to do. I think as having a heart, being a person, you know, that's what you gotta love to do it. Either way, Deborah, I appreciate you tapping in. Who else was here today? Terry, Juan, my man Derek Nelson, always a pleasure. Cynthia, appreciate you tapping through. Terry, Marlene, Arizona. We had Myrtle Beach, West Texas in here, Texas Tornado. JP, Darlene, Holly James. I appreciate all y'all. Let me end this last poll. Let's see what these results of this last poll are. Said Hakeem Jeffries. People said, yeah, he's all right. 30% of people said who. And will Democrats win the midterms? They won't, 58%. Hopefully they find a way, 35%. I have hope, but I don't know. I appreciate all y'all tapping into the stream today. We've had a couple. I had another poll in, right? Can you live off $20 an hour, 40 hours a week? I wrote that wrong. 52 hours a week. 60% said no. 39% said yes. Either way, I appreciate y'all. I'm happy. I'm tapping out because I have at least a 30, 45-minute ride to get my son. If anything, I have a gaming channel. I just changed the name from Hip Hop Lobbyist Gaming to Lobbyist Gamer. So you can check out Lobbyist Gamer page. I may change it again because I need something catchy. I'm a lobbyist. I'm a gamer. Maybe that'll work. But either way, make sure you tap into the gaming channel. I'll be back on tonight. MLB The Show. Maybe a little Call of Duty. FIFA. You never know. Two Fields Pod. There's a whole other vibe over there. But again, make sure you like, subscribe. Let me check to see if we hit 800. Did we hit 800? Oh, I lost 4 followers. Damn, that's crazy. I need 5 more. 5 more to get to 800. But either way, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great